Alright, what's good, everybody? And I'm pretty sure everybody's had the full 4 hours to really like figure out what's been going on, but let's just go ahead and roll it, just so you guys can get a taste of what everybody's been having a course on, and that's the trailer for the new ArcSys Marvel Team Fighting game. I never thought that this shit would ever manifest and come alive, and I had discussions before. I'll let it play out though, just so you guys can know. Check this shit out, dude. Dude, the super jump. MVC, man. Assist calls and stuff. I don't know who that bitch is. She got stretchy arms like Lucy. Spider-Man, of course. The screen, the stage fucking with the wall breaks. I mean, I think MVC had that too. At least like every MVC game before 2 had wall breaks and stage switches. I always loved like shit like that. It was always so cool to me. MK3 had shit like that where you could actually like knock people through the ceiling. Like I like that shit. Like, and Tekken obviously does that shit too. And I've always been a fan of things like that. It's like a very like interesting like element to the game, even if it's just like on a visual like standpoint. Even though on Tekken you could keep combat going and stuff, it was actually there for mechanical use. Bro, this shit looks so good too. I know these are not going to be the only 4 in the game. I haven't read up on like any blog posts or some shit. PS5, Steam, and Epic Games. Rest in peace to the Xbox users. Switch? I don't know yet. Will we see a Switch 2 release? It eventually comes a year after, just like how Street Fighter did their shit. But, you know, what I was trying to say before is like, dude, this shit is, it means a lot. That's all I can say, because if we go back to my own YouTube channel, like my earliest videos after like I had to kind of rebrand and change the content that I did on the channel, my first few happened to be like fighting games and stuff, but the fighting games were like Third Strike, and eventually it would go down to like Dragon Ball once that released. But I've been having like the longest period where I would just play like Marvel, like old like Capcom fighters and stuff, like Street Fighter 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom, and I would run games on like Fightcade and shit. And that's what kept my my teens like really like fun, like playing Marvel and shit. And I would upload like playthroughs and shit of that, like the old box logo and shit that I used to do. I used to go by a different name too, and I even made like certain videos like specifically like as tribute videos for like the X-Men, because around this time, for some reason, like, why is my browser like tripping out?
Previously on X-Men.
There we go. Like this was July 25th. Around that time, that was when Infinite was just like announced and shit, right?
Previously.
And there was news that there would be no X-Men and shit. And then that's where we got like Combo Fiend basically saying that the old functions mean like most of your modern like Marvel fans, they won't even remember who the X-Men are and shit. Like people just like Magneto because he's just a function and shit. Like we know, we can remember back to that time how things were handled in a terrible way. I was not happy, dude. Like I was probably one of the biggest like Marvel Infinite haters out there. And I made these videos as like a tribute to them. And it would be like random footage of me playing. Like Wolverine was my guy. In these games, like Wolverine was pretty much like my main, my one consistent main. The other would have been Spider-Man, but he wasn't in Children of the Atom. Like in every game I have a Wolverine, except for 2, but 3 he was a part of the team, and I didn't even play 3 that much. But best believe that Logan was a part of that team. And when I found out Logan, aka Wolverine, was not going to be a part of that shit, I was so fucking pissed, dude. I wanted Cyclops too, because he was also my boy in X-Men vs Street Fighter and MVC2 and shit. I love playing those characters. I actually like these characters outside of the game and shit. And aside from that and stuff, like, you know, Marvel was like one of the franchises, or like the IPs, if you could call it that, like that set the foundation for like aside from like Street Fighter 4, to where I was like introduced into the field of like the world of fighting games. Like around that period I was like really like learning the history of, like, you know, the different games around that time, who were like the OG players and stuff, and it meant a lot at the time. Until Dragon Ball came out, and that's when I invested all my time into that. So this right here, I have high hopes for more than Infinite. Because for one, it already looks better. It's a 4v4 instead of a... Well, I never cared about the 2v2. Because every Marvel game I played was a 2v2. Except for, like, the first 2 games. The point is that, you know, this is not a game in which it had took a step back from what it originally like left off at. It being a 4v4 to me is something I'm still kind of like trying to gauge in my head how well I would be able to like play a game like that. Well, I haven't read up on like how the mechanics actually are. So if you have like 3 assists, having 3 assists would be fucking bonkers. And learning 3 characters by itself, like I've had periods where I've gone through like character crises when team building in certain games, especially Dragon Ball. And just look how good this is. I'm gonna have this loop as I yap a bit more, man. But I really can't wait for this game. That's all I can say. If it turns out to be as good as what is being shown in the trailers and stuff, and we have like, you know, if we're not cutting out or having a shortage of like the appearances of like legacy characters and also newcomers, which, you know, I mostly am here for like the legacy characters like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Wolverine, Hulk and shit. And Cap's cool and stuff. But like they to me should be like, a given, the essential, the characters that, has to be there. It's just like, the same thing with like Street Fighter. Like Ryu's always been there. Ryu's pretty much all has to be there. Has to be there. Capcom's learned before what happens when you cut characters short. Or what could have happened, because Street Fighter New Generation wasn't supposed to have Ken or Ryu. And they already got backlash from that shit too. But since this is not Disney/Marvel in 2017, I think they've learned their lesson then. And people can speculate on the background, like conference room, like corporate decisions on why like they chose Arc Sys, but it makes sense because like, from a business standpoint, why would you work back with the team whose previous product had been such a bomb? It was a terrible bomb. Like I think they expected to like sell like 2 million within like the first week or some shit like that, and they only sold like half of that. I ain't gonna lie, dude. Like when I heard that it didn't meet sales and shit, I was actually happy. I low-key wanted that game to fail because of how much I hated it. Because of how much it got wrong, how much soul it didn't have, how much polish it lacked, how much energy that wasn't there, how much, a lot of things. Even though I've heard like mechanically it was one of their best, like, fighting games mechanically, and I don't doubt that either, but so many other things had mattered, and I think they definitely did not care. Just straight up, they just did not give a shit about that, because it was blatantly obvious how like it was blatantly obvious that Disney wanted to like have some form of like tie-in. No, not tie-in like lore-wise to make it canonically in line with the MCU, but it was made MCU-like by including like some of the movie characters in there, like Gamora and Rocket. Well, Rocket wasn't really he was in 3 too, but I can't remember who else was there. But they made it MCU like based on like the roster choices for the Marvel side, and it just was obvious that they were just trying to make a quick cash grab and promote their like movies, which were hot at the time and shit. I think, well, actually Infinity War didn't release at that time. I think Infinity War was like a year after. I could be wrong. Wait, let me see something. Google Avengers in Infinity War. It was 2018. Yeah, it was a year after, so I think Endgame was after that, I remember. But they were in the middle of like, a hot streak, movie after movie around that time and stuff. I think Spider-Man Homecoming released that same year. Lots of shit, right? So they wanted to like, sell a product that was going to help like also link their consumers into the movies, which is smart on paper, but the execution was fucking awful, because a lot of people who are interested in that specific product are going to be people who are, fighting game players and stuff. And players who are passionate, players who are passionate in general about their games, like fighting game players. Like I was one of them too. I still am, you know, like I still hold that mindset. Like I want, you know, the games of my favorite IPs to be like fantastic and shit. Like I'm glad Street Fighter 6, for example, it is as good as it is, at least success wise on like the marketing end, because in Japan it's like really hot, and there's a lot of like arcades there too where people are coming into play. Like out in the States it's different obviously, but you know, in Japan, you know, Street Fighter actually like means something. Even the pros there are celebrities and shit. And when Dragon Ball Fighters released, like, and I heard like that around that time when it released for its first Evo, I was really glad to hear that it broke like Evo records for having the most entrants until like, I can't remember what game later on. I think it was Street Fighter 6, or I might not be clear on that because COVID happened and things were different. But I was really glad because it, for one, it's Dragon Ball. Like, people that know me know I love Dragon Ball, man. I literally just got done today watching the entirety of OG Dragon Ball. Watching 3 to 5 episodes like a day. And I'm ready to do that for Z also. And I'm going to watch it all the whole way through. Like, that's how much I love Dragon Ball. And I was glad that the game was as good as it was and only got better until like post like season 3.5 after Ultra Instinct released. Then things kind of like I suffered burnout. That's all I can say. I was definitely burning out from the game. But to me, I still hold that game dearly. And it was made by ArcSys too. And guess who's in charge of this shit right here? ArcSys. So I have no doubt in my mind this shit's going to be like on the same path that Dragon Ball had. And honestly, I was hoping for Dragon Ball Fighters 2. This is just as good. This is just as good for me. And when this releases, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Fuck Street Fighter. I'm sweating again. I'm sweating again the same way I did for Dragon Ball. I'm gonna sweat hard for this game, man. And I'm not even on that. I was never on that same boat with Street Fighter 6. Even if like I've gone out to like offline events here and there, it was really never. There was always like an element missing to where I like had that inner drive. As I mentioned in previous videos too, like it just wasn't there. Not like how it was with Dragon Ball. And then COVID happened and it fucked shit up for me. This, however, it's like I'm coming full circle again, considering that my start was outside of like Street Fighter 4 was with Marvel, like playing a lot of the MVC games and shit. And to talk back specifically, to talk more about like this game, everything I see here is how I pictured like a ArcSys like Marvel game to be. It's not gonna be like Marvel versus Capcom, obviously, even though that to me is reminiscent of some shit I've seen in like Marvel 3. I don't know the mechanics too much by name, but I know like this specific moment right here and shit, like to where you would go into different characters like that. I know that's in Marvel 3. The assist calls and stuff, the super jumps. Dude, like there's so much I want to be able to say, but there's so much we still just don't know yet. Or at least I'm out of the loop on that. I know that it's a 4B, I mean, the trailer had mentioned that. It's a 4v4. I don't know what the button scheme is gonna look like. It's definitely not a sit. It can't just be a 6-button game. I hope it's not really that that complex button wise, because I'm not really keen on using my pinky finger for like pressing buttons on my stick. Because there'd be like, let me think about it. So light, medium, heavy, that's already 3 buttons. And then, okay. No, this actually works out. This works out. It's not going to be the same button scheme as like the previous games. You would just have 3 assist buttons. It's just 3 assist buttons. And then light, medium, heavy. There's like the third assist would usually be like a like in Dragon Ball's case, it would be a special button. So like key blast and shit, or whatever they had and stuff. And then in Marvel 3, I think that other button was it was a launcher. It was a launcher. And of course, the games before that, Marvel 2 was it was a 4-button fighter with 2 assist buttons. And then every game before that was the standard like 6-button fighter, with assist calls being medium punch and medium kick for like 2 games. It evolved and then simplified as the games went by. This doesn't look like to me it's going to be a simple game. I don't think it will, but the modern standard now is to usually include like a version of like the game, or not version of the game, a control scheme that is accessible to babies. And I don't say that insultingly, even though I learned how to do all the classic shit when I was 12, so ain't no excuse in my eyes. But I know this game's gonna have its own like modern control scheme. It's a given at this point. Every game is gonna have this moving forward. I don't know what that would look like. But my own theory is that you have 3 assist buttons and light, medium, heavy. Like even right here, like this shit, not this. Light, medium, heavy, cancel into different character. Light, medium. I mean, am I wrong to think that, honestly? I haven't looked at any. I heard there was a blog post on this shit. I should actually look that up. What is this game called? Marvel Tokon. Tokon. I ain't Japanese, so I don't got that. I don't got that accent to really pronounce that right. I'm Hispano, man. PlayStation blog. PlayStation, voice realized same fact fighters, reimagined character stages, heart-pounding soundtrack, intuitive gameplay mechanics. Another thing too that I want to mention, like the tracks on Marvel vs. Capcom, like to me, are some of the best that ever existed in like any fighting game. Capcom's composers have always been good. Like I still look back at games that like Street Fighter 4 and even 5 had like bangers and shit. 6 is the black sheep that I don't like, but to me every Capcom fighter usually did good soundtrack wise. 6 was definitely one of the more, it's gonna be one of the more forgettable ones, Like, I know we won't look back at that the same way we look back at like 4. But 6 will, like, we're hating, like, a lot of people are hating on 6 now, but I know in the future, like, we'll look back at 6 and we'll be like, yeah, this shit was actually pretty good for what it was. But I want to see some. From the beginning, we make variety of players and a team like the Tokon Fighting Souls. You only need to master one character in order to play the game. But what does that mean? We have designed the mechanics in such a way you can perform a variety of actions with either traditional fighting game inputs or... I knew it, yeah. Modern controls. With the press of a few buttons, blah, 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 multiple characters can appear on screen, provide backup or attack altogether. Creating a new and exciting team versus battle experience. So you're going to be able to call characters in as an assist or what I assume to be somewhat of a dummy kind of thing, or like how you can... Like, I don't know. I remember in Marvel Infinite, there was like a thing where you could call your tag partner like mid combo and then proceed to continue the combo from there type shit. I think that's what they're referring. I mean, we saw the footage. That's exactly what they were doing and shit. What am I talking about? Think, right, like, where was it? Light, medium, heavy, like I said. Then go back into this. But now it's on a 4v4, so there's a lot of pathways to like what you could do. Since day one, our long time and trusted collaborators at PlayStation and the team at ArcSys Works have poured incredible amount of talent and blah blah, said Michael Francisco, Senior Product Development Manager, Marvel Games. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls demonstrates how the absolute masters of the craft and the true Marvel fans at heart. Players are in for a wild ride. I want to take you for a ride. I feel like that shit was intentional. That shit was definitely intentional. That wording right there was intentional. Enter a fray with the Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Doom, Star-Lord, Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes. They had a selection process. Further foremost, we wanted to include characters who we feel to be the face of Marvel. I mean, with these two and Spider-Man, that is a given. Storm over Logan, though. I don't know about that, honestly. Wolverine should have... Why can't Logan get some love, man? Come on. Come on, man. I get this guy right here, man. Like, he's definitely been on the big screen and, like, he's been popping up, definitely. Like, he's now in the face of Marvel heroes. But Logan? Not making an appearance? Come on. Is he about to be DLC? I'm buying it anyways. At the same time, we also need to select characters that would give us a balance of battle types and styles. Okay. So I guess Logan would kind of be cut down because if there's going to be like Cap, who's probably going to be rushed down. Also, Spider-Man 2, like, that's 3 rush down characters. And lastly, we wanted to sprinkle in a few surprises and leave room for characters who have never been playable in a fighting game before. That is so important. That is so important. Because, I don't know why, like, in recent times, like, people don't like guest characters. I like guest characters. Like, I like when there's new, interesting, like, well... guest characters are different from those that are original, but I like it when things are introduced to be different, just to spice things up. Like, now I understand that you can go overboard with that shit. Like, I think MK1 was like all guest characters. Homelander, Conan the Barbarian. Fuck it, what was his name? And I watched Invincible too. Omni-Man, yeah. Scream? Yeah. Scream. I can't remember the guy who was under the mask, even though I watched Scream 2, but it's been a minute. I can't recall who else, but like that's like 4 that I counted so far. And in Street Fighter's case, like having Terry Yamai to me was genius, and it was a must. But I've heard people share their sentiment that they would rather want like OGs to be introduced back. But to me, I would at least want like 1 or 2 like new characters who are cool, mind you. Like if they're trash, they're trash. Like not every design is like good. Like Rufus, fuck that guy. And El Fuerte, oh my god. El Fuerte was such an offensive character, man. He is so offensive, man. I hate that motherfucker. Keep that puto out of here, man. Like, El Fuerte should never come into another Street Fighter game. I'm a huge El Fuerte hater. Every El Fuerte fan, get the fuck out of my YouTube channel. But moving aside from that, I'm trying to get a gauge on who would they introduce. The Fantastic Four is one, even though they are about to get their own film. But I am expecting to see like characters who don't have a big screen appearance. Even though the majority of the roster, to me, I still have a hunch that they will be characters that have had cinema appearances, just because marketing and business will always be marketing and business. Yamanaka-san continues. Early on in the project, we experimented with a shader to recreate a more Western comic book look, visual style, which it almost looks like. To me, it almost looks like Marvel Infinite and Beyond. Like that one mod that Max and like some other crew made and shit. It's bright in the same way. The shading is not really the same, but it definitely, like, the contrast of the colors are like bright just like it. Which I like. I like, you know, the brighter colors on like these games, which Marvel has always had. They were all like bright, colorful, and flashy. It's like playing like visually it was like looking at an acid trip form into like Marvel characters. That's such a weird way to put it, but you know, the game to me was like a huge acid trip, especially like variable cross on the first Marvel game. Like the whole background turned into like an acid trip background. I loved it. I definitely loved it. But the Marvel team expressed a desire for us to lean into something more arc-like. So, what I noticed immediately from like, which DBFC, like we'll just use the TNS footage and stuff. Like, something that's different here is like, the way the characters are actually animated, it's almost like well, this is not really a good visual of it. The trailer would be better. Like what most ArcSys games usually did and stuff was like that right here is like, it's almost like they made the animation like choppy in a way, like that right here. It's not like a smoother like animation. Like there's chops here and there, I guess, to make it look more like 2D in a way. But out here and stuff, like with this, like characters are definitely moving a lot more smoother and stuff. It's just on the actual visual aesthetic of it, it is definitely an Arc Sys game. But the way that it's animated is definitely more to what you would see out of a Marvel game made by like Capcom and stuff, which I think that's what it's this is what it's referring to, which at least the art style, they said they wanted to lean into something more Arc-like. So I guess as far as like the actual visuals, not the animation, it was then that we switched our approach to the game's visuals and began to lean into more Japanimation style for Arc is known for. There's still elements of it, definitely, but the animation, the actual animation with how characters move is definitely like different from what I've seen out of Arc Sys games. From short range jabs to cinematic ultimate skills, each character features a bespoke set of normal, special, and unique attacks inspired by their abilities and powers in Marvel lore. Arc have gone to great lengths to ensure that gameplay style, movement, and feel of these legendary characters is fresh, new, and wholly unique to Marvel Tokon fighting souls. But it's not just the individual gameplay of the characters that have been enhanced. Significant dedication has gone into reimagining and redefining what it means to be a tag team fighter. So I'm already expecting this to be something different than well, I mean, obviously they already did their own thing and made it a 4v4. So team versus fighting games have a long tradition of 2v2 or 3. Yep. So this is something we've discussed in depth within the development team. I bet there was a lot of things being said in that discussion. We went back and forth many times, from thinking that we might be better off making a 1v1 game or sticking to a established 3v3 format. Sakin-san continues, at its core, we felt that the appeal of team versus fighting games is the intensity of battles with multiple characters on screen at once. Agreed. Additionally, one of the appeals of Marvel Comics is seeing the vast cast of characters coming together to create all kinds of unique team-ups. And it's been that way since the 90s. With these two ideas in mind, we concluded that creating a 4v4 team versus system would be the best way to not only create those over-the-top moments, but to further evolve the tag fighting genre. This is good. This is what we wanted out of Marvel. I've heard talks about people, having predictions that the next Marvel game would be a 4v4. Because what else would have been the way to like evolve from like where Marvel 3 had left off and stuff. Marvel 2 introduced the 3v3 and the 3 assist mechanics. What Marvel 3 had introduced was like X Factor and like there's other shit that I can't even think of right now. So to go up from that, the only logical thing you could think of is like a 4v4. But of course, we saw what happened afterwards. The stages come to life in Marvel Token Fighting Souls, filled with Easter eggs for eagle-eyed fans to find. Most stages also feature multiple areas. These transitions between areas are not just action-packed and stunning to witness, but they also play a strategic role. Check out the screenshots from Marvel's New York City to see what you can find. More to come. Today's announcement is just the beginning of our journey, from characters and stages to gameplay modes and the online experience. There is so much more we can't wait to share with you. And there is so much more that I cannot wait for. You bastards. Already, let's just take a look. New York to me will be the easiest one cuz the Avengers building is right here. Is that a J. Jonah? Yeah, that is J. Jonah. I can't. Damn it! This should have said something. J. Jonah's right there again. I'm trying to find the Bugle building. Oscorp. Oscorp. COSCO. Oscorp. Let me see some. Norman Osborn. Look, it might be hard to see, but this shit says Norman Osborn. God damn it. See? You can barely make it out. If you're on mobile, just zoom in right here. Or go look at the screenshot yourself. That shit says Norman Osborn. There. Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four. I'm not the biggest, like, genius when it comes to, like, Marvel. But, like, I recognize like these obvious things, and I feel like as you move by the stages, like more will be revealed. Because the only things that I could count were like this here, the buildings right here. This probably means something. It's catching my eye for a reason. I feel like there's something off screen here. Adventure Park Avenue. This probably me. I'm probably looking too deep into things, but you know, I know there are things to pick out. Excuse me, goddamn. Where is fucking no, where was that? Damn, I zoomed in too much. Whoops. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, did I just fuck up? Yeah, I did fuck up. Hold up. There we go. And let's just get the other one too out the way. Obviously, this is a statue of the Avengers and stuff. Coffee. Like, well, I've seen that shit in the other building. What does that say right there? Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So it's just a statue of them. I don't think this is in New York, though, even though we've seen that same coffee stand right here and shit. It might just be a different... Oh, maybe what it is that like this all right here, or was that fucking? Let me just group it. This all right here is one stage, or like it's one stage with different rooms. So if you get knocked back like towards the left, you would transition here and shit. Or if you get knocked back to the right, you would end up like here. That's interesting. Because then it's like you have 3 stages packed into one and shit. It's not just like, as I mentioned, like Mortal Kombat 3, like you could be at the underground, the nether realm and shit. You uppercut the opponent and then you would end up on the city. On the surface. Where's the other one? This one. Can't see what's here though. Is there anything to note here? Like this is a tail, right? Yeah, it's a serpent of some kind. Gym. I don't even know. What does that say? Fogwells Gym. Fogwells Gym. You guys gotta bear with me. I'm not the biggest. It's a location. Oh, dude, I actually should have known this. It's It was used by Daredevil to train in. Fuck, man. Oh yeah, cuz his dad was a boxer, right? Wow, man, I'm really forgetting shit. Oh, it's all coming back to me now, man. So I was right then, because these two locations are in New York. So this must be Hell's Kitchen altogether. Wow. And I don't think the trailer had... No. Do we go? No, yeah, we definitely... Oh, we actually get more, we get more of a view as we move further out this way. But I don't think there's anything different from what we, had seen in the screenshot. Wait. Dazzlers. God damn it. Stop super jumping. Dazzler. Fuck. Dazzler's Disco Show. I think that's what it says. Yeah, that's the Fantastic Four building. Okay, so yeah, pretty much that's all we got so far as like Marvel Tokon, as I believe it's called, Fighting Souls. I already want to know more. I just want to play it, man. Cause I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This game right here is mine. This game is mine, man. Around where I'm from, I run the tag fighter shit, man. This shit's gonna be mine. I'm gonna own this game, man. You guys better watch out. Cause when I actually give a fuck, I'm a madman. But that's just enough talk. Cause I'm not just all talk. And you'll see that when I proceed with action to back up that talk. But you know, I'm also the fan of the game too. So that's pretty much all I got. I actually yapped a lot more than I thought I was going to, because this means a lot, you know? It's making me debate whether I still have one more run in me. I'm not old and stuff, but I had given a lot of my own self to like Dragon Ball. But with this coming back, made by the same team, and it's a tag fighter, and it's with characters I actually like, the IP, Marvel, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Marvel. And I liked, well, I still like Dragon Ball, even though they fucked it up and turned it even into a terrible game. Like, this is me coming full circle from where I was 8 years ago, and even further back before that, because this is only when I just started to like upload on the channel. But how nice would it be to come full circle around with this game a year from now, and I'm definitely gonna be putting time into this. Yeah, but that's it for me, everybody. Yo, put you know, let me know your thoughts in the comments and stuff. If you heard me yap for this long and stuff, there's definitely a few things that you either share the same sentiment with or you have different views on. But I definitely want to hear it. So this is Infinite 47, and I'm out. Peace.